Good evening, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. Hope everybody's doing great this evening. Welcome back in. We get this right. Von Deathheart, welcome on in. So, did I hear right that I may see you on Saturday? You may be bringing a couple of printers with you. Hey, Chewy, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. All right, yes, 23 months, almost 2 years. Holy crud, Chewy. Thank you so much for the follows and the subscribes. That is awesome. I appreciate it, my dude. You will see you for sure. Awesome. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, I will be there. I'm thinking I probably need to go shopping tomorrow to basically get like a little toolbox or something and just throw a bunch of things in a small toolbox that I can bring with me. Um, just so I have various bits and bobs to go with me, and then I'll figure something else better the next time around. But yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to bring some stuff with me and then wind up working on a lot of other projects. I'm actually trying to create a 3D image of your house right now for planning. Oh, very nice. Very nice. That'll be cool. Hey, Chewy, thank you for the 5 tier 1 gift subs. Uh, let's see who got a gift sub. Papa's Way or Papa Way, Dave of Things, Wolfman Crab Arms, Manly Mutt, and Gertjan Brink. Nice, nice. Rig 2 M3 screw kits. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. They should have some stuff there. Hey, Aussie, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I'm thinking I don't know if I want to take my nice ball drive or my nice hex drivers, but I will bring uh, my ball head drivers, my Bondhaus ones that have been used so much that the uh, uh, the silk screening has come completely off the 2.5 millimeter one. Um, but yeah, I'll grab this and a few other things to take with me. I'm thinking I am going to bring the baby belt with me. Um, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some signage that's going to have to get drafted up because Mrs. Dragon was talking to Echovate 3D, and it sounds like a lot of my machines are going to like circle through there on resonance type thing. Um, so yeah. Hey, Eagle the Dragon, how's it going? Easter weekend was good. And yes, we are looking forward to seeing you out at Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Fest in a couple of weeks. I don't even want to think about the day countdown because my brain's about to explode. Um, how's it going, Wolfman Crab Arms? Welcome in. Ooh, the application has a cloud limit. What application were you using? We'll be bringing 2 printers that could use some help. If you wouldn't mind, Van Deathheart, pop, just DM me in Discord and let me know which printers and like what you're experiencing, just so I have a heads up and can possibly be thinking about some solutions beforehand. If it's just, hey, we may need to square things up and get it going, I can do that as well. Um, hey, Tech Jeeper, how's it going? Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Trip Father, I hope you're doing well as yeah, I hope you are doing well. Ah, there we go. Wolfman Crab's Arms. You added me for lurking. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Matterport. I don't think. Yeah, DM me in Discord if you're on the Discord. If not, it's a Bang Discord that will get you the Discord invite link. You just go out there, join the Discord, and then if you DM me there, or actually any of the socials for that matter, um, I'll be able to just prepare basically is what I was getting at. Oh, wow, that. I moved the mouse and apparently I brought up the big wide context menu and it just startled me there for a second. So I haven't even checked to see if this is lined up yet. Fairly decently. There we go. We have a Baby Belt Pro. And you may see that there is some filament here on the side already. And that is because since the last stream, I've done a few things. Like got the firmware installed, updated the or updated the calibrated the E-steps, whatever, for the extruder, stuff like that. Do I have a Polymaker code? Yes, I do. That would be Bang Polymaker. There's my Polymaker affiliate link. If you use that, I do get something kicked back into the channel. Also, if there's something there that they're out of stock in, you can try and check out Echovate when you're there this weekend, because they do stock Polymaker. I think they are primarily the Panchroma line right now, and I know that they have 3 kilogram spools of the PETG recycled CFO8, meaning one of these bad boys. I may have just ordered another one of these to have on hand because I got some plans. Speaking of plans, we got a lot to do and not a lot of time to get it done. We are completing the baby belt. The motor for the extruder should be in tomorrow. So I should be able to work on this some this weekend. So Saturday evening, after we do the meetup at Evocate or Echovate, we can come back and work on this Saturday evening and hopefully get it up and running again. I believe all we needed to do was get the extruder working, and that's where we're at there on that one. On this one, well, we can click on that. Control, home all. And we are homing. So just home that. Y comes all the way down and taps to the bed. And we have now homed the printer. The issue that so Marlin was working, right? But hey, Evil Diesel, how's it going? But we couldn't get any temperatures on the bed and we could not heat up the bed, right? So that was an issue when you're not getting bed temperatures. The default Marlin config that's up there does not have the thermistor or the heater bed turned on, which means you'd be running it without a heated bed unless you recompiled Marlin with those settings added. It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute since I've used Marlin. So what I did is this currently has a Raspberry Pi Zero W version 1.1. And it's a little how can I say this? Sluggish. What do I put this? Baby Pro locally. Let me switch over to the browser window here. And of course, why would that be? Tab. Okay, so here's the interface for the Baby Belt Pro. As you can see, I switched it over to Klipper. Pretty easy. Used a 128 meg card to actually flash the SKR SKR Mini E3 V3. And then once again, I've got a Raspberry Pi Zero 1.1. And what I may wind up doing, so this is a 1.1. And all I had to do was solder in a set of headers here, and I'm running it UART because the only way that this screen works with Klipper is you take that TFT cable out and you plug it in via the EXP port, so EXP1 on the board, to the EXP3, which is the top left over here on the back side of the screen. And you have to run it in Klipper mode, which gives you this interface versus the standard touchscreen. Now, there is a mod to put a Big Tree Tech TFT5, I think it's a Pi TFT5 screen in here, so a 5-inch touchscreen, and your Raspberry Pi can mount right to the back of it. Of course, that won't work with the way this, it would be weird. So you'd mount your screen into this, and then this as a cartridge basically will slide in. 2 screws on one side, 1 screw on the other. Then this front plate comes off, this attaches. We'll reroute the wires through the side here, and that's a way that we can go to a regular Klipper screen if we want to. We don't have to. This works just fine. And we have the full Klipper interface. You figured out you have to delete the space whenever I go to upload a new compilation of the photos for that. Okay. Yeah, it's one of those things where the free version has a limited number of things that you can have open or saved or whatever. Kind of like Fusion. You only have a certain number of editable files. So when you need to edit or create a new file, you just have to basically go and grab one and make it read-only, and then you can create and save one. How's it going, Evil Diesel? Hey, Petty Ruxpin, how's it going? So, once again, the version 1.1 here, this is the 1.1, this is the 2. Not too much difference, but you will notice that there's a definite size difference in the processor. And that's because this has, basically, this is the power of a Raspberry Pi 3 in a small form factor. So I may wind up soldering, because this is my only 2, I may wind up soldering headers here and just doing a swap, a 1.1 for a 2, and see if that helps, if the 1.1 still feels underpowered and lackluster in its responsiveness. I've got plenty of 1.1s, I just don't have plenty of 2s on hand. Just have the 1. And I really don't want to put a Raspberry Pi 4 in there if I can help it. Give me 1 second. Try something out. Not try something out. I need to get a print going. So okay, there we go. So, by the way, folks, if you're building a drag racer for Rocky Mountain or any of the other rep festivals, you have to replace the wings. This is not PLA or PETG. This is TPU. Okay, these have to be made out of TPU for this year, actually since part of last year. And do yourself a favor and dry your TPU so you don't have a ton of cleanup and potential fun. So I'm going to be trying to clean this up. And if I can't get it cleaned up, I'm going to have to reprint it, which would be a sad day. The front one's not as bad, but I've got to replace the ones on mine. And then, so I have a front one. The front one's the only one I saw. I know I printed off 2 sets of these before Evil Diesel. Have no idea where they're at. So if you've seen them, let me know. If not, I'm going to have to print at least one large rear wing again. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. That's the way my brain is right now as I'm getting down to the... They're at your house? Cool. Can you bring them over? Ouch. Take a heat gun to it, then shave off the blobs. Will a heat gun work on TPU? Going to be my question to you. Will a heat gun work on TPU? I'm not sure if it will. After you make dinner? Well, I mean, you don't need to run them over immediately, but, you know, bring them with you tomorrow night, because I'm assuming we're still doing things tomorrow night. But anyhow, we're up and running. I do have some files sliced. Now, here's the one thing that gets a little bit weird. Yeah, game night. Yeah. And are you coming Saturday over to Echovate? There's going to be some cool things there. Like we're going to have this. Von Deathheart's going to bring a... all right, you want to ride over there with me? You want, you can just drive over here and then we can leave, or I can swing by and pick you up. I might head over early just to get some things squared away. Yeah, all right. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it tomorrow night at game night. Yeah. So let me do a little mental reset here. Okay. So you will notice there's some different color parts here. I reprinted these end pieces in the PETG, and they kept snapping at the joint between the thick part here and the base. I might need to talk to, what's his name? Rob, about maybe making this slightly thicker by like another mil or so. There's just not much of a joint. Let me grab one. You know, that's kind of a thin, almost butt joint there. And even though this is PETG, and PETG is normally pretty resilient, I snapped this twice. And these ear pieces here, I snapped them several times because of the way the layer lines go. I mean, you're putting a screw through it. It doesn't matter which way your layer lines are going to go. It's thin, and it could be a weak spot. So I reprinted these in ABS. This is Bamboo Lab ABS, red ABS. And it's just these pieces right here and the plate underneath because we have a heated build plate. Okay. So that's something that I did to get those things done up. I still need to order some cable sleeving off of Amazon and get these sleeved up and made pretty. Since the last stream, I went ahead and put a Raspberry Pi in there and moved this over to Klipper, because if I'm having to adjust things in Marlin, you've got to download the entire Marlin stuff and recompile every single time you have a change. So if we're on Klipper, then I can go in and make changes fairly easily. I'm still a little bit stymied on getting the right 0 point distance here, so that I'm getting filament that actually sticks to the belt. Right now, I think I'm still a little bit high as I tried to adjust it. But what we've got is the Klipper firmware loaded up, and it just worked. As you see, the homing works well. The screen works. You just have to make sure on this particular screen, hold it for 3 seconds, and it comes up. Whoops. Hold it for 3 seconds, and it comes up with a switch to Marlin mode or touch mode. If you're running Klipper, in this screen, you have to be in Marlin mode. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And you won't be able to do anything on your screen and move anything around. Okay. So with that done, I have PID tuned the hot end and PID tuned the bed. And those both went fairly standard and easy. I'm not going to do anything like input shaper on this because we're not moving it fast enough for input shaper to make a hell of a bean difference. And yeah, it just doesn't make sense to try and do input shaping on a printer like this. Now, maybe I have heard there's such a thing being worked on called Baby Belt XL. So we have Baby Belt Pro, or excuse me, Baby Belt. Then they brought about Baby Belt Pro, and now that this is out in kit form, they're already working on Baby Belt XL, which I would only assume is going to be larger, since this is a little bit larger than the Baby Belt itself. So, and yeah, 9 hours is an easy weekend. I mean, we're getting ready to drive to Colorado for primary's sake, and we're gonna take like 2 days to get there. And I'm thinking I am gonna bring an enclosed printer that we can print replacement parts on if needed. Evil Diesel, and I'm thinking it's probably gonna be the Ender 5 that's sitting over here on the ground right now. Because I don't want to, once again, I don't want to take one of the biggest or bigger printers, but I'll take that one and or maybe the Annex K3, and then we'll kind of go light, because I think I mentioned this on last stream, but I'm going to tell you this right now. I am building a box turtle at the show. LDO Motors is bringing a space gray frame box turtle kit for me, and I am currently printing out right here parts for that box turtle. It is using LDO filament, and it's the turtle sparkle turtle green, and turtle gold. So if you look at the render that's on the Box Turtle website, that's your color scheme. Okay, I've got all the files sliced up for this right now. I don't know, who knows? Maybe I'll grab one of this because I don't want to reslice the files on something else. It's really, if I bork something or something breaks while I'm building it, I need a way of reprinting it. So, I'll have the ability. I've got the files. I'll be able to slice it for whatever. It'll work. Do you take shrinkage into account? Shrinkage for what? We will be packed already. Well, that's the thing, is we're taking the totes, and the death racers should be in the totes. And remember, we're not taking a Rook this year because KB3D has their Rook. So we'll have that tub that we can put some other things in, and then putting 2 drag racers on the top of whatever printers are in the back is just the way it works. ABS on the parts for the box turtle. Well, here you go. I have printed all of my box turtle parts out, and I've now built 7 of them. It's going to be number 8 at the show, and not once have I adjusted the files. The files are made to be printable in ABS, ASA, or PLA by the suggestion. So I have not once yet changed or upsized any of those files. Um, and all of mine have worked perfectly. I have built 6. Well, so I have cut and built 6 from 6 frames myself. 6 of them have been self-sourced. 1 was a LDO Box Turtle beta kit. And so that one is actually downstairs on Kyber Dragon, getting ready to go over to Echovate at some point. Your shrink reported at 99.7. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I didn't do the test. It has worked out fine for me on all my parts. And yeah, that's the thing, is that shrink rate may be on 1 part, 2 parts, a handful of parts. I don't know. I haven't had any issue. All of my parts, I've printed all of my box turtle parts primarily over here. I have done some of them on the box turtle on Iron Dragon over here on the corner. But for the most part, honestly, I have not been running these 2 and a little bit here, just because I've got so many other things going on. Like right now, I'm printing a ton of TPU parts for the drag racers to get them up and running. The TPU parts for the feet and the tires for the box turtle have already been printed. I need to print a set of the clear diffuser pieces. And yeah, I'm just kind of running a bunch of stuff. And I'm getting ready to start running. I've got some Sunlu TPE. I've got some Soraya Tech TPU. I think that was 85A. And then I got some, yeah. This one's going to be fun. Yeah, I've got various TPUs to work with, but this one's going to be fun. This is, Recreuse. They're, I believe, out of Spain, and Echovate is the single stateside distributor right now. This is, well, come on. Why won't you focus? Anyhow, this is Filaflex, and this is 60A shore hardness. This stuff, you're pretty much going to want to be like running it pretty much directly into the extruder off the spool. You're not putting it, don't run it through a bunch of PTFE tube. It is flexy. It is like a rubber band, yes. Most of the shore hardness stuff that you're printing, like from Polymaker and stuff, is up around 95A, and this is way softer. Spooler covers and the turtleneck. Okay. All you need to reprint. Gotcha. Ooh, I'm going to have to bring my soldering stuff with me too, unless I solder stuff ahead of time. Nope. Building the kit the way the kit comes. So I'm going to have to remember to bring all my soldering stuff with me. Okay, anyhow. See, I am way off track. We're here to talk about the Baby Belt. And I'm talking about everything but the Baby Belt. So we got the Baby Belt. It is built. It is fully mechanically built. Like I said, I've PID tuned the hot end. I have PID tuned the bed. Both of those were airing out on the Marlin firmware, the stock firmware. You'll have your gear. Yeah, I'm basically going to need to set up a go box, or we're going to need a go box, especially when I start going out to excavate on the monthly jaunts. So you will notice, whoops, let's go over here, that I do have a few files already sliced. There are things like dragster body, nose body, mid body. These are actually the body panels for the dragster frame. Figured, well, hell, if I could do it, there's actually one that I sliced up that's the entire body, which I think would be cool as heck if I could get that thing to print on here as one piece. But everything is up to date. I did update to the latest version of Klipper, which is 13. It was a major release. I was kind of fearful if I should push that button or not, but I did. The Klipper install was very easy and straightforward. We copied the printer, the macros, and dumped those in here. And we needed to create the options and the boards. And the boards, we have the SKR E3 V3 board, and there's an SKR Pico, because that is another option. If you self-source, you can put a Pico in here. And then on the options, there's an option for an angle switch. So you can wire up a simple end stop, right? Just a simple 2-pin end stop, and mount that right behind this front rail. And if it's in a 30-degree position, it won't trigger the end stop. If it's down in the 45-degree position, it will trigger the end stop. And so through a macro, you can literally tell whether you've got this configured for a 30 or 45-degree setting. So if you go to run a file that was sliced for 30-degree and you're at 40-degree or 45 degrees, it will tell you. It will bark at you and say, hey, I can't run this. You've got to change the orientation of your gantry. So that might be a mod that I do down the road. The SFS, this is the Big Tree Tech filament sensor. There is a way of mounting the Big Tree Tech filament runout sensor in line here, and then wiring that up. And so that's what those files would be for. And then you need the Big Tree Tech TFT35 menu and the Big Tree Tech TFT35. You have to have these two files at a minimum to also be able to run this with Klipper. So, hey Timur, how's it going? Hey Sebastian, how's it going? You're here finally? Cool. You have the parts for an old version of the Baby Belt, but needs some fabric for the actual belt. Yeah, I've built the Baby Belt 4 times. And it's like every time I print everything out and I start putting it together, he releases a new version, and I'm like, crap. So I take it all apart, print all the new parts, and start put it together, and it's so I think honestly what I'm going to do is source the 3 rails and take my standard Baby Belt apart and print and rebuild it. And I think some of the 8mm bolts I'll have to get, and just about everything else I should be able to reuse no problem. I think the only thing I'd really need to get would be the rails and a Voron bed. And then I can build a second Baby Belt. Maybe give it away or something. Who knows? So getting this set up and running really was pretty darn easy. With the with the Klipper files, you'll see coming into the printer config, I'm just going to pull things down to the bottom down here. For setting up the connection, I am going UART. So I just copied out the one line here, or yeah. uncommented the one line, and you've got two choices. It's like serial or slash dev slash PTY, I think S0 or AMA0. I've always had better luck using the AMA0. I tried that. It went no problem, so that was easy enough. And then you'll see under the save config, this is anything where you run a macro or command to do things. The only thing I've done on here is extruder PID and bed temp PID. So that is that. On the, where am I at? Extruder. I validated the E-steps, and I think I made a tiny adjustment to the E-step configuration here. No, I take that back. I marked it. I disconnected the tube, got my filament loaded in here until it was coming through. I used my ruler, marked 120, told it to push 100, and it pushed 100 exactly. So that was set correctly, so I didn't need to change that. You can't come up with a use for the baby belt. Well, you can do flexi dragons on it. You can do serial prints, so you can literally set up and have 200 copies of something print and just keep coming right off the back into a bucket. You don't need a huge printer if you're doing something small for farmers markets and things like that. You can just set things up and have it start going. You could, because trust me, I sliced it. I can do the body panels, the single body panel, nose to tail, for the Edge of 3D drag racer on the baby belt. It fits in the build volume. So I think that would be interesting. I think it takes like 14 hours because this is not printing fast, but it does slice. It does meet the slice criteria for the space. Now, having a racer out this long, and by this long, let me come over here. Not that one. Goodness gracious. You know, having a race body or a drag racer body that's probably that long is going to be fun because you'll have to support it. Otherwise, it'll cantilever off. You'll have to figure out something to support that. But I don't see any reason why you can't do really long things like that. As long it's going to be long and narrow. And you know, it's cool. Having one of these going and doing a very small, like a frog or a penguin or something smallish like that, and just running them off. I mean, the Rooks, right? The Rook 2020s. We have it set up. It prints 3 things at one time, and we get that thing running, and we can't print them fast enough. The kids are trying to peel them off before it's even finished the print, right? It shows. So, you know, it's just something cool like that. The only thing I'd use it for would be unspooling a whole kilogram of filament the hard way. Yeah. Work, Timor. Waiting for Murph to come around. So you're not going to make it out to Murph. So I'm going to have to wait until Murph to see you, huh, Chewy? So yeah, that's right. The more I think about this, the rotation distance on this was spot on. The only issue I'm having, everything heats up. It's just getting the offset to the bed correct so that I actually, like, it's pushing filament. It's just now getting filament down and sticking because I don't have the offset right just yet. So I think what I want to do, kind of do it this way. I'm going to home everything because I've been hitting and nudging stuff. It does come down and does hit the bed and then go back up on the Y doing sensorless homing. By the way, if you're using the Revo nozzle, you can't do sensorless homing because remember that nozzle's in there with a spring. So top to bottom and doing like a tap, you're good because you've twisted it all the way up. But doing side to side, it will give a little and it'll throw off the repeatability of your um, homing on Y. Once again, this is X, this is Y, and then Z is the belt. You lied, you don't have black TPU tops. You have the front end cover here. So you don't have the wings, because this was the only one that was in the thing. I don't have any of the rear wings, so I printed these. They're good. I mean, they're good enough. I can clean them up, but for KB3Ds, I have to print another set anyhow, and it's gonna be a different TPU material. It'll either be the Sunlu TPE or it'll be Soriatech. Okay, you have a front end but no rear wing. So I must have only done the 2 front ends in. Just received 5 kilos of black ABS, tariff proofed on black ABS. There you go. Yeah, I just ordered a couple more TPUs. I ordered an orange TPU for reasons. So I have two spools of the orange Polymaker TPU, and then a clear TPU, which will be interesting, and another 3 kilo spool of the PETG recycled CFO8, so carbon fiber filled PETG. That'll be interesting, Chewy, because I don't know where ambrosia is made. So if the price goes up on ambrosia, it would be because they're not local. They're not having it manufactured local. What? Ugh. Uploaded, but you didn't print. Print. Okay. So I just did 2 updates to the Prusa Mark IV firmware, and it's doing that thing of, oh, you selected Flex and you have Flex installed, but it's you know, the G code specified doesn't match what's loaded. And I'm like, G code specifies Flex or TPU, well, Flex, which is TPU, and there's TPU in it. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where the G code says TPU, even though the file G code says Flex, but there's no TPU setting when you're loading material. It's just called Flex. So I don't know. I don't know if it's barking about that. But anyhow. Hey, thanks for the follow, Geek Boy 76. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Ambrosia is made in the USA, if you're not mistaken. Correct. And that's the thing is, I believe the filament lines are in the US, but yeah, that's the question. Is the resin US or where are they getting their resin from? Like Polymaker has a factory now down in Houston, but they're not doing the whole line here in the States yet. And I believe the majority of what they're producing down there may be the wholesale stuff. But I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so I just homed this, and what I want to do is I want to bring the Y down to 0. So I'm going to do a G1 Y0 F 1000. It'll go slow, but what the heck. And what I'm trying to do is figure out where that nozzle is and whether it's right down. So it's a little high. That's my thing. So it's technically, it's not even touching because I have a piece of paper that's just easy peasy lemon squeezy shooting around there. So what I need to do is continue to move this lower and move out of range. Why? Why is that move out of range? That's Y 0, which it knows is negative 7 point. Okay. So I think what I need to do here is printer config Y position min. So by default, it's 7.5. I made it 7.8. I'm wondering if I need to go the opposite direction. But it's weird. What if I make the min position 7.5, but leave the homing override position 7. That should give me another 0.3 lower. I think. This is where I get confused, is trying to do this piece. Like setting a Z offset is easy. We got macros to help us do that. Those don't work when your motion that you're trying to get to touch the build plate is the Y. It's just not built that way. So now that we did that, let's home all. And I'm curious to see what it tells me for Y, if it says it's at 7.5 or 7.8. It says 7.8, which is the Z home offset. So if I go to 0, why is the move out of range? Why is that out of range? Let me go there. Possibly the other way? Might be what I need to do is make the end stop for Y be let me do this. Let me make that 6.5 because I remember somebody saying it, they had to change theirs to 6.5. Should get you another millimeter of travel, I think. Yeah, like I said, this is the harder part, is trying to figure this piece out now. And as slow as this is going, this is why I'm looking at swapping the 1.1 out for a 2. Or a I02. Hey Pez Liz, how's it going? You just assembled your new chair? Awesome. Did you do that on stream, or Or are you just going to show it off on stream? Um, Von Dieselhart, or blah. Sorry, I just saw Evil Diesel and mixed your guys up. Von Deathheart, don't get, I don't have notifications for fourth wall set up popping up here. I'll probably need to get with Pez Liz at some point and have her help me get my whole setup better, since she's like pro streamer and all. I'm just I'll say a 2-year-old streamer. Literally feel that way. All right, I'm going to see if I can actually it won't. So it won't let me go lower. What is going on here? So do I need to flip it the other way, where the extruder, not the extruder, Y end stop is set to 7.5, and the back off distance set to 6. Pro streamer, yes. Got to feed the horde. All right, Evil Diesel, have fun. Enjoy. What stupid message anyways? Uh-oh. Now you're going to make me like go look up fourth wall, aren't you? Where did that? Okay. Sorry. Keep playing with the wire. So we're going to do the homing cycle yet again. And I'm probably at some point going to have to turn this around so that we can do the whole still not there, and I don't know if we're going to, yeah, it's not going to let me get there. Let me go down. It's going to let me go to -1. Still out of range, huh? Okay. About to run out of wiggle room. I think that's as far as it'll let me go without blowing up. Okay. So I still don't think that we're not there yet. We need to go just a little bit lower. So I need to give myself probably another millimeter to play with. And we didn't change the Y, right? The Y min is now 7.5. What we need to do is change our back off here. Change this down to 5.5. That should give us a couple of millimeters to play with when we're doing this revalidation of home. And I know this is super, super awesome to see. So while it's doing its reboot thing, I'm going to see about maybe turning things around this way so you can see more about what I'm doing at this end. So we're going to do another home sequence. Okay, and now I'm going to get my paper underneath there, and I'm going to start dropping this down. All right, there's negative 1.5, and I'm still um, not hitting. And I just noticed it's not going down anymore. That's somehow going in the wrong direction. I think that's all. That's all she wrote. Still gapped. Do one more. I don't want to put it down so far that it runs me the into the bed, because I don't want to bend or snap a nozzle, but at the same time, I do need to be able to find that 0 point so that we can start actually laying down on the belt. At this point, it's not touching the bed, and if it's not touching the bed, I guess one of the other things I can do is also make this bed a little bit prouder. Going more that way. I'm like visibly still way off. Like, I think I'm going to have to go down another millimeter completely. Either that, or like I said, yeah, that seems to be at the right height. Watch it wind up being that I need to set that to actually 0 for it to come back down to the 0 point. There. So close. So close. Still doesn't make sense to me. If y is reading at -4, that's the gap that we have between them. This is going to make it -5. Has anybody here got any experience with the Baby Belt? It'd be great if Rob was here. Yeah, resin's definitely going up. Not like resin pellets, but liquid resin for doing SLA. That's too close. Or that's pretty good. So I wonder. Mm-hmm. Homing override. Set the G code offset. Setting the G code offset to -2.5. Pellet that we're at 7.5. Probably not. Come up here under stepper Y now. Change this to match. Was I at 2.5? Oh my goodness. This is a negative number. That's a negative. Now I'm curious if the issue is the fact that we're doubling these because it's a negative and negative, and one of them should be a negative and and the other one should be a positive. So that did not do what I wanted to do because the homing macro is backing it off a certain point. E29. Here's our homing current, current. Sorry, folks. I'm just, I guess, a bit confused right now and trying to figure out which way I need to make the correction. In order to get this set to the right height. Does not appear that we got anything in the macro. Swing override. We get a Y10, E90, G28X, X to 50. Set the homing current, G28Y. Then we restore the current and then we give it an offset. The question. So I wonder if the issue is that's supposed to be a negative. This is actually supposed to be a positive instead of a negative. How's it going, Wilk Allen? Welcome in. No, Wilk Allen or Wick Allen? All right, let's do a home. Okay, so what we did, we now think we're at negative 7 point. That is close, but we're still not there. So we'd have to go. That makes somewhat sense because at least now those numbers are doubled. Um, what if I do that? Does it, the comment says it's diagnostic, so that's why I'm trying to figure out, like, why is this, call me Wick, like Rick, only with W and no R. Okay, Wick. There we go. Okay, now you think you're at negative 7 point. Whoops. I think we're close. I think we're close. So what we're trying to do, Wick, is just we're trying to figure out how to make this 0 right to the bed because we're using Y. And I'm used to doing a Z offset, right, where you probe something and you say you either have to go higher or lower, but it's a little bit different doing this Y thing here. So we're doing centerless homing, so it should think that it's at 8 millimeters right now. So if I go down to, oh my God. It is literally above the bed, and I want it to go down. Now that does move it up. Okay. we even... Something's not working in my brain. I think I figured out what it is. So position min is 0. Position in stop. What if we make this... What does that do? Curious as to whether or not they're doing the wrong one. That does your head. This is killing me right now, dude. The good thing is this is a simple fix. If we were doing this in Marlin, we'd be doing crazy stuff. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. So you think you're at -8 already. What's throwing me off is it homes and it backs off. You shouldn't have a back off on a virtual end stop. Now you claim that you're at -8. Definitely not let you go any lower. Okay, homing retract distance is 10. So that's why it's going back. Why it's going back. Yeah, this is a lot harder because I'm so used to just probing a bed. Once you probe the bed, then you can, you can figure stuff out after that. But trying to do this why. Could we maybe just figured it out? Might have just figured it out. I don't know. Let's home. Let's try to do something that's relatively small and flat and see if we can at least get a line to stick to our belt. Hot end heats up real quick. So we're going to give this a try and see if we can get some actual filament. I've got filament pushed. Now I'm trying to see if I can get um, filament to stick. Filament does ooze out. You have filament oozing out. Now it's just a question of whether we can get filament to stick to the belt. And I don't think there's a requirement to do any type of, like glue stick or anything like that that I'm aware of. But I am definitely hoping that we can get something going here. From a tuning perspective, it doesn't, I mean, it just tells you to run some tuning. It doesn't actually tell you how to tune this part of it. Seems like it is trying to print something right now. Not actually seeing any filament come out. It was oozing, but it wasn't coming out. It didn't do any type of purge line that I saw. And it's definitely way above bed. I'm confused. I'm not seeing any filament whatsoever coming out. I don't know if something is stuck. says it's going up, but yeah, it's still not hitting 0. You want to keep the hot end hot, and I want to see if extrude. There we go. Somehow not loaded. That could be. I did some. Yeah, maybe. Playing around with things earlier, I might have unloaded it. So let that cool down. We home all. Catches off, moves off 10, and it claims that it is at 0. So we've got Y set for -8 min position. Position end stop is 0 with a 0 offset. Okay. I -8 there. Be passing anything in. Not that I see. Let's try and run it again and see what it comes up as. Because it was free floating before. Now if we change that, see if it does bring it back down to the print bed. I'm just trying to get it close to sticking. If I can get it close to sticking, I can figure out. I've destroyed one belt before. I'll figure out how to get stuff off. I guess what I'll do is also go out and troll in the Discord some. Bus home first. Printer is not home. Skipping print and move. Okay. Home. Okay. Now you're home. Y and stop still triggered after reach. Now you hit even harder. -8, -8. Let's go back to stock. Let's just go back to stock. Copy that for Y. there. So we're back to stock for Y and that Y offset stuff. Now this should heat the hot end up and then do a homing move. Open up Idea Maker over on the other computer and see what it's doing. Printer's not homed. Okay, so will you home? And stop still triggered after reach. Okay. When all else fails, reboot. Reboot. Baby Belt Pro. What are we sending in beginning G code? We are sending print start, bed temp, extruder temp, and the angle. Okay. Well, that's there. Macros, probing, bed clear, G28, calibrate, blah, 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 G34, G35, print start. Pretty sure I didn't change any of that, but we'll take a look. Print start. Got some stuff there with some defaults, bed, extruder, material, angle, Y angle state. Yep. Care about that Y angle state bit. G90, M83, extruder relative mode, G28, home all axes. 104, heating bed. Heat nozzle, extruder, bed temp, clear setting. I'm not seeing anything weird there. printer config matches. But I'm not seeing this behavior. So what does the G-code file look like? That may be the issue. I'm run this one. We may have Idea Maker throwing some things in there. Okay, here's Idea Maker throwing temps in. All right, I'm wondering if this is a slice because I'm not even seeing it pass the bed temp stuff in here for it to run the start command. So it's not running print start at all. Hey Zombie, how's it going? Thank you for the 10 months subscribe in a row. We're trying to figure out why prints are not working. And what I'm seeing is even the test files, this is not sending my correct start G code. So let me see something. Slice, export to local disk. Space. Okay. So this is the one that I just uploaded. I want to not start. I want to look at this and see if it picked up the changes that I just made. So the issue is it's not sending my start G code command. I'm trying to do my print start stuff for Klipper and it's not doing it. So it's trying to throw in its own set of commands from Idea Maker. And that's what's causing the problem is it's not putting the G code that I want in there. So if I think this is an issue with Idea Maker configuration. even sending the start G. Okay, that worked. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to work on is I'm trying to figure out how to do the Y offset so that it goes to the right place for so it will actually print on the bed instead of 10 millimeters in the air. And also trying to make sure that I'm getting my print start macros pushed over. And it's still not pushing print start stuff. Like, why the hell? So I'm looking at the print file here, and this is just a bunch of stuff, you know, idea maker, dimensions of the printer, plate shape, belt printer, blah, 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 right? Nowhere am I seeing the print start command that I have added to the idea maker um, configuration. I don't know. Is anybody familiar with um, idea maker? Not that's where I'm going to be stuck at is I'm not getting stuff done in idea maker right now. Hey, down under maker, how's it going? The last time I played with it was when I was playing with the inner belt. We'll have that in here. Cancel. Hey, hey. I have models go. Right, here's the inner belt. Can I see the? It's the slicer I seem to have issues with because in the files that I uploaded, which so we're doing Klipper, and I've updated the start G code, right? And when I look at the file, there's no print start command. It's not sending any of the variables for the print start command for Klipper. So that's why we keep having issues is it's doing things, it's setting temps and stuff, but it's not doing a homing move anywhere and stuff like that. Which is why this won't start printing. And so I'm not sure why it's not doing what it should be doing. And I don't have the Baby Belt Pro set up over here. Not like I couldn't set it up real fast. Let me actually update this to the latest. Download and update this to the latest. That'll complain because thing. Hey Jedi Spidey, how's it going? We're having fun. I've been fighting trying to get the Baby Belt Pro to home and then not try and print in air. And now I'm realizing that I think I've got a different issue with the files I'm slicing, not even slicing correctly and sending a standard print start command. So, right, there's Idea Maker, choose printers, whatever. Give me something start. Awesome. Baby Belt, software profile. We have an option for Kirimoto or Idea Maker, and Kirimoto is looking more and more interesting every minute. And actually, what I need to do is download these. So grab that, copy that, Maker resources. Download some files, extract all. Okay, Idea Maker. We want to import from local disk. Modes. Right, nothing for that. We're doing Klipper. Okay, so they're not running a straight print start at all. They're just, okay. We'll go with this. I don't think I have anything downloaded. And do they even have standard primitive? Wow. A box. We're going to do a box. This is called a test. Slice printability says, sure, we're going to export this somewhere. How about right there? Baby Belt Pro. Upload a file. Document. Default box. Print. Let's see what it does. I'm just throwing my hands up at this point. Let's see what it does, because my brain hurts. My brain hurts. You're installing it now to see if you can spot the method. Yeah, I'm. They use an old pre-Klipper flavor being added to Cura. Okay, just been outside earlier working on some helmets. Nice, Jedi Spidey. Yeah, I need to do that. I've got a few things I need to get outside and start painting. What I really need to do is just make the definitive list of here's the crap that needs to get done before Remurf, and then here's the things that will get done if I have time to breathe after that. All right, so we're heating up the nozzle. That's good. Oozing. Probably oozing a bit. Gonna heat up the bed. I don't even know what the profile is set for on that because it's just Race 3D PLA. Struggle with passing print start commands to Klipper. I've had no problem sending print start commands to Klipper, but in Idea Maker, the only time I've used it was for the Additiva belt printer that, oh, who picked that up at KB3D last year? God, I can't remember his name. But anyhow, somebody else has that printer, and I think it was just all Marlin. So yeah, that's the thing. And on the other on my Mac, I have it set to the standard, you know, print start bed is this variable. The only thing I think of is it not, well, it's not even, like, does Idea Maker use a different variable name? I guess that could be one of the things. That could be an issue, I guess. Unknown command M205. Okay. It's trying to print. pushing filament, but it's not near the bed. So it's pushing filament into air. So this is that offset that we're dealing with. That I thought I had licked, and apparently I don't. We made progress. We made progress and we had movement. So there's a start. Someplace to work with. Okay, now an idea maker, what was that passing? That is just passing G90, M82, G21, G28. And then picking up heat up and validate heat up of the bed and nozzle from these guys. So here's the, looks like it's temperature heat bed and then temperature extruder 1. Platform cooling temperature. I don't know. Is it? Yes, it's in the air, Wick Allen. It's probably a millimeter higher than it should be. And I haven't quite figured out the magic numbers to get it closer. Y says the mid position is 0.75 with the position end stop is 0. And then there's this offset. And I don't know which way to take it. Like if I tell it 0.85, yeah, I'm going to see. I'm going to try something here. I haven't even looked to see what it passes in the G code. S94, S214, S214. So sure what that command is. Temperature. Yeah, so here's everything right there that is in the G code that they were telling, right? So all of that was getting passed. All of this is getting passed, right? So why can't I send the print start command instead of this stuff? Kids wake back later, maybe. Okay, sounds good. So we got this stuff. So what I want to do is cheat. Really got to put right naming scheme. There we go. Actually, not what I want. What I want is slicer command. Right, start. So I'm wondering because I'm sitting at the command, but I think I'm passing it an incorrect variable. I think they're calling it something different, and I think it's like temperature underscore heat bed. The extruder, instead of being first layer temperature, I wonder if that's the issue, is the fact that I'm move out of range. Why are we getting this Y still triggered after retract again? Most of the helmets to Discord. We're letting this reboot, so why not take a look at Discord real fast and see some helmets. Good thing it moved over there. Discord. Nice. So we've got some helmets going on here. Standard clone trooper. This is a shore trooper, right? Those are looking pretty good. One doesn't look like a wearable one, but is this one a wearable one? Or are these smaller? Try and print a box. See if it knows what it does now. Yeah, that's a pretty good surface, especially on the first one. Oh, man, I guess if I looked at the things, that was a Commander Cody and darn it. This is Commander Cody and Death Trooper. Commander Cody. That finish looks really good. Is this got primer on it, I'm assuming? And then this one looks like you're still working to fix some layer lines and stuff on this. Expandable filler primer. Now that one looks like it's got a few more layer lines that need to be worked out. Yeah, definitely those are looking good. All right, so we got movement. Just home. And move out of range. Tried to go to negative 8.3. Took a timer too close. Is the board getting warm? Don't know. No, we are going to cheat. I don't know why we're not pulling the temps for the board and the um, these guys. So we'll throw those down here. Raspberry Pi, sure. call this one SKR Mini. Give me some. My fear is that we're overtaxing the 1.1, the Raspberry Pi Zero B1.1. Temps 37 and 42, so it's not bad. Huh. So, all, pretty easy thing to do. I think you're at 8.5. Okay, there's 7. And then it tells me I'm out of range. Probably because I can only go 0.5. And that's actually good. So I'm at a loss. Make that 7.5. On Y. Um, what if we don't pull back off the bet? Because it doesn't seem to be dropping, right? Duplicolor 2-in-1 primer filler. I think I use that. Hey, Shenanigans, how's it going? Shenanigans. You don't have a belt printer, do you? Okay, so not backing off. It says I'm at 7.5 right now. So I really, really wonder. I'm at a loss. What if instead of backing off 10, what if we just back off 9? That somehow seemed to fix the knowledge. Nope. Okay. I'm just confused. I'm just cannot seem to. I can't seem to get this right. Meaning we keep printing in the air, and I can't seem to figure out the magic touch to get there. And then that happens. So now it's like driving hard into the not hard into the bed, but it's the left side, no problem. Comes down to home against the bed, and it's trying to drive to Z China, and the only way I can get that to change is to do a reboot, and then it does the light tap again. I don't know. Well, no. The thing is it. So because it's the Y, they've got a thing set up where the it they've got it set up so that the Y minimum is negative 7.5. The end stop is at 0. And then they do a Y offset of negative 7.5. So I'm still confused as to, because it'll 0, then it'll go up to, it does a back off to 10. And when it's there, it says it believes it's at 7.5. Let's run this home again if we can get it to home again. If we can get it to finish a reboot. Big and patient. Okay, we're going to home all. And once again, it just tried to drive into the bed. So nothing has changed. Well, I say nothing has changed other than the Y. Homing distance I set to 9 instead of 10. Position men, negative 7.5. Position end stop 0. These are exactly out of the firmware for Klipper. Y, homing retract distance 10. Position men, negative 7.5. 105, 25, and 0. I do not know why it is now trying to drive itself into the bed. Eh? What the hell did that just... Control Z. Click. Copy. Right click. Paste. Okay. Gracious. So we have definitely returned back to 0 point there. Only other thing that gets changed is this line down here, which is still where it was at, which is negative 7.5. Negative 7.5. So, save and restart. And yeah, now it's crashing into the bed, and I don't understand why all of a sudden it's doing that. I have restarted it, so it should be feeding all the current basic things. Home all is a G28. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, it's just kind of still driving a little bit, though that homed. Now you'll see that it says that it's at 7.5. By be great if I could just say 0 there, but it doesn't. I just put it at absolute 0. And that's as far as it'll let me go because this is considered 0 is the the global coordinates, 7.5 is the, I don't know, real world. And we need to go down about another 0.5 millimeter to be at 0. But for whatever reason, if I sit here and say, okay, let me make that change, got to go 0.5 millimeter, right? So if I come down here and say, well, let's just make that offset 8.0, right? Add another 0.5 millimeter to that. We come down here, we make this negative 8.0. Save and restart. G28 there. And now we took an error because we're getting an MCU shutdown timer too close. Timer too close is normally, I mean, it's a, could be anything. Chances are, I think what I'm going to wind up having to do is pop the bed out and swap the Raspberry Pi 0W 1.1 with the Raspberry Pi 02, which I'm not going to get on here at stream because I'm going to have to solder on a bunch of headers. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do at this point, now I'm feeling a little defeated, is I'm going to go ahead and call the stream. Okay. I'm going to swap that out, and then yeah, I guess we'll give it another shot. I've got D&D tomorrow night, Saturday. I am not going to stream in the morning. I will stream later in the day on Saturday. Because the we're doing the maker meetup at Echovate 3D here in town. The 02 would be much better. What do you mean by the 02? What do you mean by the 02, Wick Allen? Yeah. That's where I'm going with, is I have a Pi 02 that I had picked up. Yeah, this is the Pi 02. And my plan was going to go ahead and use this. Let's say, yeah, the Pi 02 does have a wireless, and I think I see the wireless in. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put in a Raspberry Pi 02. Yeah, all the Raspberry Pi 02s were wireless, right? There was not a non-wireless version. That says Raspberry Pi 02W. They had some non? Well, that's gonna suck. Excuse me real fast. I need to get my old person eyes out. Yeah, this has to be good. This has the 2340 chip on it. Uses antenna technology licensed from blah, blah, blah. So this says Raspberry Pi 02, but it doesn't actually say the W, but it's got to be. I guess one way to find out is pop the wireless card in it and plug it in and see if it comes up, right? That part's out. This comes up and comes back, and then I have to pull the bed out. Once the bed's out, I can pull that the rest of the way out. You guys aren't seeing anything that I'm doing. So you've got to like pull these two out together, so to speak. And this is plugged in, so I can't get that fully out just yet. But what I'm going to do is just pull the SD card, drop it on the ground. Why not? Come on. There we go. Okay. So with the SD card, the easiest way to figure out if this is going to be wireless is I'm just going to plug that in there, grab a suitable power supply. And plug it in because it uses power. That should work. Guess I got a light. Little flashy light. With a little flashy light, we can well, hell, it's the same exact chip, so it should come up at BB Pro. There we go. Not going to come up because it's not physically connected, but it does come up there. Does see stuff here. It's just not going to be able to talk to the printer. So that'll work. What that means, though, is I need to solder on a set of headers here, and I'll do that tonight off stream. Try and throw it in there and see if that helps the timer too close error thing. So, yep. Yeah, so the big thing is, let me see if I can get this to show up. So this area right here is the antenna. There we go with the light. You see that kind of triangular shaped thing? That's the actual Wi-Fi antenna right there. It's that little triangular cutout right here. Kind of looks like a funnel. So that's the Wi-Fi antenna that's built on these boards. So what I'll have to do is, like I said, I'll have to solder headers on here so I can plug in the wires, and I'll go ahead and give this another shot. You thought I was heading out? Well, I'm getting ready to. Yeah, I've got a handful of zeros. They're just all 1.0 and 1.1s. So, yeah, so this obviously has Wi-Fi because I was able to get it to come up. So that's good. It just doesn't say W on the back of it for whatever reason. I was pretty sure it was a W, but let me see. Who do we have that we can raid into tonight? It's 8:30. Might be a little early for Big Jano. Keela's on, showing off filament. Polymaker's on. Let's go say hi to Keela's Way. Thanks everybody for being here. I still have to figure this out. I will talk to the powers that be, and the powers that be being the Baby Belt Pro Discord, to try and figure out that whole offset thing. And I will get this wired up as well. And so if you're going to Echovate 3D on Saturday for the Maker Hangout, you'll probably see this. And stream will be either late Saturday or maybe even Sunday. I'll have to figure out how I'm feeling once I get back There's a good chance that they're also doing D&D one-shots, so we may get, I'll say, stuck. We may wind up staying there doing D&D one-shot afterwards. But yeah, one way or the other, there will be a stream this weekend, and I will let you guys know via Discord and Twitter. But thanks everybody for being here, and I will see you guys next time. Bye now. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for sticking around and watching the video and dealing with my brain this time. Please, if you like the content, like and subscribe below. Be sure to check that bell so you get notified of future videos. And YouTube's going to be suggesting a new video over here. Thank you very much.